Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. A controversial bill that would remove protections for Indiana's wetlands is another step closer to becoming law.
You know, these areas are just critical to the animals and plants that utilize them.
Coming up, we'll explain some changes lawmakers made to the bill and whether that makes the measure easier for critics to get behind. Plus, proposed zoning changes aim to increase housing options in downtown Bloomington. But some residents worry the plan will open the door to more student apartments in the city's core neighborhoods. In Crown Point, residents lined the streets to welcome home a police car that infamous gangster John Dillinger used in his Jailbreak. Ahead, you won't want to miss the story of how this car made it back to the sheriff's department about 90 years after it was stolen. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines, right now on Indiana Newsdesk.
Nice treatment.
Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, the state's mask mandate and other COVID-19 restrictions ended Tuesday, but Senate Democrats are calling on Hoosiers to continue wearing masks and social distancing. State health officials say nearly a quarter of Indiana residents age 16 and older are now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Another 1.9 million first doses of vaccine have been administered statewide. But State Senator Shelley Yoder of Bloomington echoed federal and state health officials' concerns that relaxed restrictions could lead to another surge.
We are at a critical turning point where our state will either stay the course and the number of COVID cases will go down, or we will head towards another lockdown.
The number of Hoosiers hospitalized with COVID-19 jumped by 83 Wednesday to 789, the most since late February and the largest one-day spike in hospitalizations in 4 months. The state also reported more than 1,400 new cases and 16 new confirmed deaths, bringing the state totals to just under 700,000 cases and 12,700 deaths. Now, while vaccines are having a positive impact on the pandemic, an NPR Marist poll from late March shows that 1 in 4 Americans would refuse a vaccine if made available to them. As the legislative session draws to a close, lawmakers are making major changes to a controversial bill that would relax some protections for Indiana's diminishing wetlands. As Adam Pinsker reports, removing those protections could cause serious harm to the ecosystem.
Just a few miles west of Bloomington lies Bean Blossom Bottom's Nature Preserve. If you take a stroll along its boardwalk, you may see species of birds and other animals unique to the area.
Bean Blossom Bottoms is a great place in the summer to see prothonotary warblers, which are a migratory bird. They come up here during the summer to breed.
John Lawrence heads up the Sycamore Land Trust, which purchases land and easements which it then restores and protects, such as Bean Blossom Bottoms, one of the dwindling patches of wetland areas throughout southern and central Indiana.
I know we have lost since European settlement, roughly 80-90% of the wetlands that used to be here.
The area is critical to the animals and plants that use them, as well as humans.
We all really rely on water, and wetlands are just serve such an important function in water storage, reducing flooding, cleaning groundwater by filtering out pollutants.
But a bill proposed by State Senator Chris Garton would eliminate a 2003 law that requires the Indiana Department of Environmental Management to issue permits in a state-regulated wetland and enforce violations of those permits against landowners. Proponents say the legislation streamlines unnecessary regulations that deter development and drive up the cost of housing. But Democrats and even some Republicans say lifting the restrictions would jeopardize these protected ecosystems.
You know, these areas are just critical to the animals and plants that utilize them.
On Wednesday, the House Environmental Affairs Committee made several changes to the bill, including one that no longer excludes classes of wetlands from permitting requirements. The amendments also exclude croplands and temporary streams from being categorized as wetlands.
Rather than trying to take a meat cleaver to this, we were a little more surgical.
The amended bill passed the committee unanimously, but some members aren't happy with the changes and say they might vote against the bill in the full House.
Senate Bill 389 in its original form, I believe, was a much stronger bill, a better bill. IDEM is an agency that has been out of control, and we need to make sure we rein them in.
Senator Garton's staff said he was unavailable for an interview, but provided us with this statement. I appreciate all the work Chairman Gutwein and the House Environmental Affairs Committee have invested into the important issues Senate Bill 389 aims to address. I am currently educating myself on how the adopted amendment would apply to and affect our regulated community, our environment, and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. I am encouraged that all authors, sponsors, and co-sponsors of this bill are committed to drafting a finished piece of legislation that creates a fair and equitable wetland statute that continues to recognize and protect Indiana's natural resources. Lawrence sees this debate as a chance to emphasize the importance of preserving the state's wetlands before they are gone.
Maybe more education, spreading the word on why it's important to protect wetlands, not lose the ones that we have. Hopefully that will maybe change things in another direction.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
Well, wetlands is far from the only issue being debated at the State House as the session nears a close. We're joined by Indiana Public Broadcasting State House reporter Brandon Smith to talk about some other legislation making its way through both chambers. Hello, Brandon. State's mask mandate ended this week, but communities were allowed to keep COVID-19 restrictions in place. Now, the House has approved a bill that would limit the power of local health officials during emergencies. What would that new bill mean?
Yeah, it would come into play with those mask mandates if they continue on and this bill becomes law, because what it says is in public emergencies, like the one we're currently under, the public health emergency that the governor declared some, 13 months ago or whatever it is now, local health officials could only impose restrictions at the local level that are as strict as what the state has statewide, but not any stricter. So in this case, the new mask mandates that we see the mask mandates we see at the local level go further than the states because Governor Holcomb ended the statewide mask mandate. In that case, local legislative bodies, so if it's a county health official, it's the county commissioners. If it's a city health official, it's the city council. They would be the only ones at the local level who could impose restrictions that go further. So all of these mask mandates that are now in place at the local level would have to be sort of put in place by those local legislative bodies if they want to remain in effect.
The state will receive $3 billion in federal COVID-19 relief. What plans does the Senate GOP have for that money in its budget?
Yeah, we started to see lawmakers start to spend that new $3 billion that the state is going to get from the American Rescue Plan. And they haven't decided how to spend all of it yet. They're spending it on a lot of programs that help people. State police, body cameras, local body cameras. We saw mental health funding, a significant amount, $100 million in mental health funding, water infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, a lot of uses. And they haven't said what they're going to spend all of it on. And they do want, at least Senate lawmakers said this week, they want to keep some money back so that if there are future needs, future emergencies even, we can spend that money in the future.
And Brandon, we've got about 30 seconds left. Senate GOP budget also made changes to K through 12 education. What are some of those changes?
There's two big changes Senate Republicans made in their budget versus the House Republican budget. They spend more on complexity, which is a lot of things, but includes children in poverty, and they spend less money on private school vouchers, which the House Republicans expanded significantly.
All right, Brendan, thank you very much. Looking forward to you reporting next week.
Thank you, Joe.
Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita announced Wednesday he's launching an investigation into tech giants Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, and Twitter. Reporter Brock Turner sat down with Indiana's Attorney General to discuss what the investigation could mean for Hoosiers.
The probe will explore whether company policies harmed Indiana consumers, specifically those policies that removed content or limited speech. Rokita says the investigation stems from complaints and his own observations.
These platforms censor information given to consumers. Now, is that censoring abusive, deceptive, unfair? That's what this investigation is about. And if it is, they'd be in violation of Indiana law.
The Attorney General says this probe has nothing to do with past election results, rather understanding how companies craft policies and whether they violated Indiana's consumer protection laws. But experts say the probe could be challenging.
If there was any particular action by his office or lawsuits filed, the big tech firms and their large attorneys would immediately jump in to referee whether there is a state role in regulation or whether that all is entirely left up to the federal government. So this is going to be a very complex and complicated path that Attorney General Rokita is heading down. But I do think it's worth discussing.
Rokita believes it's a fight that's worth taking up.
We are prepared for a long fight, maybe an expensive fight, but there are funds dedicated here in the state of Indiana to make sure consumers are protected.
Proving harm to Hoosier consumers might be difficult, though. Scott Shackelford, an associate professor at Indiana University, says courts have generally adopted a three-part test to assess whether a company could be held responsible for this type of harm.
The injury, right, that's happened, consumer injuries, so both kind of numbers and severity. Number two there would be looking more broadly at the consumer advantages of having access to this technology, along with the kind of expense and difficulty on the business of avoiding the injury or kind of the harm. And then the third part there would have been, how easy was it for consumers to have avoided being hurt?
Despite those challenges, McCall says Rokita's probe could yield both practical and political benefits for the prominent Indiana politician.
Rokita's initiation of this study will resonate with many of his core supporters in Indiana. And I think it's worth noting that he's announced this as an investigation, and it's hard to know what all that might really entail. But it does give Rokita a ramp, so to speak, to engage in the national discussion of what is a very important topic, particularly for right-of-center people.
There's no timeline on when the investigation will conclude. None of the companies named in the inquiry commented for this story. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk, we take a look at how proposed zoning changes allowing for duplexes by the Plan Commission could open up Bloomington's core neighborhoods to more student housing. And the police car notorious gangster John Dillinger used in his escape from a Crown Point jail nearly 90 years ago returns home. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Stay close to Indiana Newsdesk as we trace education issues all the way from the Capitol to your child's classroom. So many topics that arise each year in the State House affect what happens every day in the schoolhouse. The WTIU News Team is committed to helping you stay up to date with the issues that affect your family's future. Keep yourself informed. Tune in to Indiana Newsdesk, your source for regional and state in-depth news.
The COVID-19 vaccine is here. It's safe, effective, and it's our shot, Hoosiers. Seniors, long-term care residents, healthcare workers, and first responders are now eligible. If you or someone you know qualifies, go to ourshot.in.gov. Or for seniors, call 211 to learn how you can receive the vaccine. But remember, we need to keep wearing masks and following other protective measures to keep everyone safe. Because it's our shot, Hoosiers. Sponsored by the Indiana Department of Health, aired in cooperation with this station.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. For the last 2 years, rezoning Bloomington's core neighborhoods by legalizing duplexes has been a contentious issue. The city tried doing it in 2019 and it failed, but this week the Plan Commission passed new changes that puts it back on the table. Our Ethan Burks has the full story.
Bloomington's Unified Development Ordinance, better known as the UDO, draws the city's zoning districts and says what buildings and housing types can and cannot go in certain areas. The changes being proposed will allow multiplex housing in residential areas in an effort to create more housing diversity and affordability.
Status quo is not going to help us get there. We need to take a step, and this is a step forward to do that, a small incremental step.
Multiplex housing includes duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. The biggest proposed change to the UDO is making duplexes legal in many of the city's core neighborhoods where they are currently not allowed.
It also opens up our highly desirable residential neighborhoods for more people to live and walk and be closer to what they love about this community.
But the measure is extremely polarizing within the community. There are many residents on both sides of the issue. Those in favor say it will create more housing options within Bloomington's expensive housing market, and those against it say they're fearful that duplexes will tamper with property values and destroy the social fabric of its close-knit populations.
This careless by right rule allows both the cozy little 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom duplex, while at the same time okaying the 6-bedroom rent-by-the-room monster popping up next door.
Multiplexes are a great opportunity for folks who want to purchase a residence but don't want to or are unable to maintain a single-family home.
Bloomington needs to reject these map amendments and the previous Plex amendments so that Bloomington can have a fair, open, and participatory discussion.
Elected officials are also in disagreement and do not believe the consequences of such a drastic change have been fully vetted.
This is not ready for prime time, and I am hopeful that by continuing the conversation before the elected officials in the city council, we will have an opportunity to adjust this, to get it right.
But after 2 weeks of deliberation, the Plan Commission this week passed a positive recommendation on the changes. It is now in the hands of the City Council for final consideration. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ethan Burks.
The City Council will waste no time in taking up the legislation. Discussions will begin next week as there are 10 separate ordinances that need to be considered in this round of UDO changes. Council members are expected to make some last-second adjustments. Well, in 1934, notorious gangster John Dillinger escaped from a prison in Crown Point, Indiana. He stole the sheriff's personal police car and fled to Chicago, where he later abandoned it. Over the years, people have tried to track down the car. Their efforts paid off, and as Holden Abshir reports, this past weekend the car was returned to Crown Point.
Exactly 87 years and 1 month to the day, the sheriff's car John Dillinger stole in a 1934 jailbreak returned to Crown Point, Indiana. Dillinger's relatives and officers from the sheriff's department joined the crowds of people to watch as Mark Love and Josh Gates drove the 1933 Ford V8 through the town square and down Main Street.
The Dillinger story is big for us here. So we were here when they were filming the movie about 15 years ago now, 16 years ago. So we wanted to come back and see the car.
Dillinger was at the Lake County Jail while he was awaiting trial for the murder of East Chicago police officer William Patrick O'Malley. At the time, the jail was said to be the most secure in Indiana, but Dillinger managed to get out using only a wooden gun.
When you look at the actual jail and you look at what he did to get out, I mean, it was just an amazing thing. And you always hear about how charismatic he was, and for him to break out with a fake gun, the whole story is just very cool.
U.S. Justice Department records show that Dillinger held several officers and inmates hostage in his first-floor cell block before making his way out the building.
In 1934, historic gangster John Dillinger broke out of the Lake County Jail and stole a sheriff's car and moved straight up Main Street and drove all the way to Chicago.
After Dillinger died in a shootout with the FBI on July 22, 1934 in Chicago, local police confiscated the car and later auctioned it.
A gentleman from Milwaukee acquired the car. He didn't know what the car was. He relocated to Maine. Decades later, he succumbed, he died.
But before he died, the man purchased a 10-year plate for the car. And that's exactly what helped Dillinger enthusiast Mark Love find it. He'd been searching for the car for nearly 3 decades when he eventually tracked it down using DMV records. If Love had waited another few years, the car could have been lost to history.
We were very fortunate to be able to locate the car. So it went from Milwaukee to Maine to Arizona, where Mark lives, back here for this event.
Love restored the car and he drove it in the parade on Saturday. He planned the route, retracing Dillinger's exact path where he escaped.
When he escaped this jail, he went north on Main Street, turned left on 93rd. Our police procession here came on 93rd and the direct route where Dillinger escaped.
With the exception of the front seat, almost all of the car's original features are still intact, including the lights, sirens, and wiper blades. Organizers say they're still looking for a permanent location for the car, but they know where it should be.
We're negotiating a place right now for it to be held here in Crown Point. This is the place for this car to be. So we are negotiating for a place so people can view the car and see some of the information, Lily and Holly, and obviously Dillinger elements.
The car will also be used across the country at events to honor Holly and law enforcement. Any money that's raised will benefit the nonprofit group Concerns of Police Survivors, which is dedicated to assisting law enforcement families. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Holden Absher.
Well, many have enjoyed the soothing voice and welcoming presence of Bob Ross in the 403 episodes of his famous show, The Joy of Painting. But until now, no one has seen where the happy little trees were actually painted. Lily St. Angelo reports.
In the old studio of Muncie, Indiana's local PBS station, curators opened an exhibit dedicated to Bob Ross in October 2020. The Bob Ross Experience is at Minnetrista, a cultural center with gardens and exhibits in Muncie. Vice President of Collections and Storytelling for Minnetrista, Jessica Jenkins, says the exhibit was created to bring back the history Bob Ross has in the Muncie community. But his revival in pop culture has added a level of currency to the exhibit as well.
We have had visitors from all over the United States already, people from all over Indiana, but also people from coast to coast, and actually some international visitors as well.
Jenkins says despite opening the exhibit during the pandemic, attendance has been good. Safety precautions, including limited capacity and increased sanitation, have been implemented. Jenkins thinks there is a need for Ross amidst all of the uncertainty.
I think people were looking for a sense of calm, a sense of reassurance, something familiar, and Bob is that.
Although Ross wasn't from Muncie, he came to love the community while working there. Many of the crew that worked on The Joy of Painting still live in the Muncie area. Their stories of Ross inform much of the exhibit. Visitors can touch almost everything in the exhibit, making the experience engaging for children and adults alike. The house where Ross filmed from 1983 through 1988 features 2 main rooms. One is a replica for the set of Ross's show with real TV cameras from the 80s and Ross's original easel and palette. The other is a representation of an 80s living room where Bob Ross fans would have watched The Joy of Painting on television.
So for instance here, this is Bob and the director of the show. This is Sally Shank. And so Sally's picture is up here alongside these little cows and these little Minnie Mouses because you'll tie it to the label that you get here about how Bob was friends with his crew and he often bought gifts for them.
Jenkins says visitors are encouraged to sit on the couches in the living room and look through books and other objects on coffee tables and shelves. She says it just didn't make sense to put Ross behind glass in a traditional museum format because of how well people already know him from watching The Joy of Painting. Jenkins says the message she hopes visitors come away with is empowerment to try new things and be creative.
People ask me a lot, oh, The Joy of Painting was about painting. Well, it was, but if you really boil it down and get down to it, it was about Bob wanting to inspire people to try new things, to take risks, and to just be fearlessly creative.
The museum also offers painting classes taught by Bob Ross certified instructors twice a month. All workshops are sold out through August. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Lily St. Angelo.
Time tickets are required to see the Bob Ross Experience and can be purchased at minnetrista.net. Ticket reservations are being accepted through August 31st. Well, black vultures had been harassing and sometimes killing calves, costing Indiana cattle farmers money. More of the black-headed vultures have been moving into Indiana in recent years, possibly due to a warmer climate. As Indiana Public Broadcasting's Rebecca Thiel reports, Purdue University researchers need farmers' help to study the problem so they can come up with solutions.
Purdue doctoral student Marion Wall says vultures are important. They clean up animal carcasses and help control diseases like rabies. Though they mostly prefer scavenging, Wall says black vultures occasionally attack particularly vulnerable animals, like newborn calves.
They'll go and hang around and wait for it to die, and sometimes kind of take some action to hasten that process along.
Black vultures are a protected species and can't be killed without a permit. Purdue is looking into other ways farmers can deter them, such as using dead vulture decoys, cattle dogs, and quickly disposing of dead animals. The university wants to hear from all kinds of livestock farmers about their experience with black vultures and will perform free autopsies on livestock that may have been killed by them. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.